uh,
Yeah.
how is it that they need to survive, and how is it that they need to thrive during these difficult times. Now, like any other organization, it was a difficult time for us as well. As you mentioned that we are a multinational company which is spread across more than 120 countries across the globe. So we had little better understanding of what is going on overseas, what are the challenges that we are facing, and how is it in terms of stepwise, what is it that we need to do. Uh, as an organization for the DN, health and safety of our employees is paramount. And so we made sure that we are doing whatever possible to ensure the safety of every direct and indirect employee who is associated with our brand.
Yeah.
The first thing that used to come to the mind is, how is it that we support people about the health? So what we did is that we enhanced the limit for the insurance for our people. Uh, so the coverage was increased. We also made sure that if there is anything which is not covered by the insurance, okay, we pay that as an organization. So say like if you're asked to quarantine, okay, and whatever you are required to do, whether you're quarantining in the home or outside during the course. Second thing was along with that is that you are not consuming your vacation holidays if you are sick. Okay, so those whether it is 1 month, 45 days, whatever time frame, because people had different degree of virus infection, we picked up that piece. I think the third thing and a very important piece was communication during this time, because uh, there were a lot of messages that were floating around. So how is it we arrived at a cadence, okay, with the teams, and it was devised at the various level, right from the global teams to the regional teams to the national teams, and within at the state level as well. We made sure that we are not only having the formal meetings, but also the informal meetings over the coffee and over the drinks, as the cultural local cultural regulations and ethos allows you to do so. So those meetings were more of a checking, how is it that you are doing? What is it that's going on? Do you have any question? I think that has given a lot of confidence to the people. Emotional health, it was the first time I think most of us had been saying, I want to work from home. I want to spend time with the family. True. But when they actually came together, the situation in all the cases was not very great. Okay, so we have seen that there was a rise as far as the domestic violence is concerned, the conflicts between the family is concerned. So we started the family helpline, okay, wherein people can reach out, they can share uh, their vulnerability, which they may otherwise not like to share it with the managers, uh, and that gets addressed, because we used to get, how is it that we can support them, what is it that is required there. So that was another piece that we did. As an organization, we are in the space of uh, essential services. So as you mentioned that we are into the ATMs, and whenever such crisis hit, the first thing that you see is that you need to have some currency notes in your pocket. So the people, while 80%, 70% of my population were sitting at home and popping the vitamins and other pills that makes them even more healthier and safeguards them from the virus. But there was definitely one part of my action that sure that we are paying them separate bonus and they are being taken care of beyond the insurances, beyond the medical support that we had. And we also built these stories. There had been some very heartwarming stories wherein people went on their foot for 10 kilometers to attend ATM because there was a nakabandi which was done by the cops, so they cannot travel. So that was, so they were we tried everything. The last and the but not the least is providing the wherewithals so that they can do the job rightly, isn't it? So that they can do the job effectively. So wherever it is required, we gave them the ergonomic furniture, and we started paying them some monthly allowance so that they can manage their electricity, their bills to compensate the communication charges and so on and so forth. So we did an array of activities, and we also learned over a period of time what works, what does not work. And in all, I'm very happy to share this, that not a single person, may be it the FTE or non-FTE, has lost the job with us on account of pandemic.
Wonderful. I mean, you have not only taken care of their health issues, made sure that you are communicating with them, and also, you know, enable them to operate from the home. So that's wonderful. You know, Ranjan, word crisis has given us some of the most beautiful lines in English literature. As soon as you see an Oliver Twist, it had been a bright day. For hours, when Oliver opened his eyes, he felt cheerful and happy. The crisis of the disease was safely past. He belonged to the world again. In other contexts too, war or peace, fortune or ruin, disease or recovery, coronation or abdication, a new parliament or not. A crisis is a transitional stage. That's what I feel, that it is always a transitional stage, leading to something. And this is particularly true today. The COVID-19 pandemic has upended life with the devastating effects all over the globe. From the personal, losing loved ones, the professional losing jobs. And the fallout is reaching every aspect of people's lives. Now and for the foreseeable future, we must adopt the new normal to survive. It appears to be that it's a new normal now. You have to adopt it to survive. Rethinking the future of the world is at the top of many executive teams' agendas. What, according to you, will define the new frontiers of the future of the world?
Well, I think I would like to be brutally honest. Okay, while most of the consultants and others may be saying whatever they wish to say, I think the future is little uncertain. We do not know whether the second wave is going to come or not. It came. We do not know whether the third wave is going to come, not come. Today, the situation in the international market is that we do not have the vessels to ship the products. Okay, so in the world, this number of vessels are less and the requirement is more. So I think it's a very unprecedented time wherein we need to see that what is it that we need to do. Now, during these times, if you look at, you have a very distributed and very fragmented workforce, which is working. Some of them are working from home, some of them are working from offices, some of them are working from Goa. That has become suddenly a very sought after location by various professionals. I think that is one thing. So you may be on the same screen, but you are not together. I think this is throwing one of the big challenges. Second is, how is it that you are building up policies for this environment? So I think, and we can talk about it a little more at the later stages. But I think HR need to revisit all the policies for the requirement of the new normal. As we go forward, you will see that there is less and less human intervention. So you'll see that if you're calling, it's an automated IVR, isn't it? Or it's a chatbot. So the customer is moving more towards the digital state. Of course, what I'm saying is maybe more succinct and more relevant for the knowledge economy, but it is changing across. Of course, I understand the way we are selling cement has not changed, the way we are selling steel has not changed, and but definitely the machines that were producing that has changed. Okay, the way we were managing the people who were selling these products has changed. So I think having said so, some of the very evolving trends that I see in the especially for the HR professionals is, you will see that there will be a surge of the business and there'll be a decline of the business. Now, this oscillation may be on account of pandemic, maybe on account of maybe on account of customer demands, maybe on account of mergers and acquisitions, but it's going to stay. I think the HR's ability to scale up and scale down as per the business requirement is going to be one of the requirement as we go forward. What does this mean? This means the ability to disaggregate the work into the smaller units and re-aggregate it again. Let me try to qualify my statement by giving you an example. If you have a work that you wish to outsource, okay, and you know that you do not have a talent within. Now, one of the ways is that you go out in the market and you hire. But what happens when the project is done? You only need the people to manage. So your structures, your policies, your acumen and your fitment of the overall ecosystem should be wherein you can reach out to gig economy and crowdsourcing and buy that talent. I'm not talking here for the commoditized talent, but this lies more for the skilled piece. Okay. Second change that I'm looking at, that with the advent of data democratization, the use of automation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, the power structures in the organization are going to change, or they are going to make a shift. Earlier, what used to happen that the data used to rest with some very powerful people. Now it is not the case. It rests on the cloud and you have the access.
Democratized.
So, right, it's democratized. So what you need to do is that from that hierarchy structure, you need to build the structures partnering with business, which are more collaborative. Okay, wherein people come together, do the work, and then move on. So that flexibility we need to offer. When I look at the third piece, and which I think, mentioned it in the past as well, has got nothing to do with the new normal, but definitely required for HR to do, is moving away from this core engagement resource, okay, to wherein you are doing only the engagement activities, to a far more value-adding business partnering, wherein you are adding the right skills, wherein you are allowing the people to thrive, wherein you are allowing people to innovate, grow, and very importantly, as I said, that there is going to be more of a screen, more of a digital. How is it that you enable the humane factor into your ecosystem? When I'm looking back, I think the fourth point that comes to my mind is that over a few decades, we have seen that largely we had been in our performance appraisal setup focusing on the individual results. I think we need to come away from that and start focusing on the teams, because during these times, it is the team that works, whether it is distributed or together. So just giving an example, say like you have your individual multipliers when you pay the bonuses at the year end. Why is that? I don't think so that is required as we are going forward. Now, there may be one other school of thought who can say, how is it that you differentiate the performance? And that's a very right question, okay? And I think these all are the school of thoughts, okay? What is relevant for your organization? Where is it that you are today? What is your need? I think such conversations help you reflect and pick from that store whatever works for you. So I believe that it has to be a common team collaborative approach that is what you are taking instead of focusing on the individual performance.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing, Ranjan, from you is that the new world of work is essentially going to be a hybrid work where people will be working from offices, homes, and from anywhere, maybe the Goa or any exotic locations they might choose to work from. So that's one thing is coming out very, very clearly out of this discussion. Another thing is that HR needs to gear up, release the brain power or collective intelligence of the people within the organizations.
Correct.
So that they can innovate, so that they can contribute, they can be more engaged rather than doing just small things.
Correct.
But that is, and everything is hinges upon, if you look at this entire aspect, that how things are effective, it hinges on the leadership. Ultimately, how the leaders behave, how they conduct themselves. So in this new normal which we are talking about is there's a, what are the new leadership skill set, I would say, skill set and mindset needed to succeed in the new paradigm of the world of work? Because this challenge is quite different from the challenge which 20th century leaders have. It was more control, order, organize, plan, and predict. But now it is, you are dealing with the knowledge partners. So there's a lot of different, in my view, leaders need the different skill set, mindset, and tool set to deal with the new reality of the work of the world. Over to you.
Okay, so I think what you're saying is correct. I think yes, there are a lot of things that are changing, but let me caution you: it is not very permanent. I think we cannot live, and this is my again my views, personal views as a professional, that we will move to a hybrid status. It is not going to be what it is, because the humans cannot come on the screen and be very effective. You cannot be, if you pick up a phone and call, okay, it's not as effective as if you are coming together. So of course, the workplace is not going to be same as it was, but definitely those large tables and large cabins will go off, and those barriers are, physical barriers are going to be dropped. We will have more of a flexible workplaces wherein you come 3 days, 2 days, depending on what's the requirement of your function, what is the persona, if I have to call, what is the persona that you live in? Is it, do you need to come all 5 days in a week? Do you need to come, if you are in a factory type of a setup, do you need to come all 6 days in a week? Or whatever works for you. But definitely it's not going to be the same as it was. But it's also not going to be the same as it is today. It will be somewhere in between. Now coming on to the, that's how the dynamics, I think, will shift a bit, because it's not a very successful model. Okay, it may be a little cost effective model, but it's not going to be a very successful model, because humans love to interact. Societies are very touchy and feely, isn't it? It cannot be done very effectively on the screen. I think as far as the leadership is concerned, there is no magic formula that I can talk about. But to me, if I had to define leadership, is more of a choice, okay, that you make. It is not the hierarchy or the constitutional authority that you get because you are sitting at a level. That's why you are a leader. I have come across the worst of the leaders who are sitting on the top, and I have seen best of the leaders who are juniors. So it is not linked to that. Number one, to me, the core of the leadership is going to change. Execution of leadership is going to change. So there's a little finer difference, and that's what I'm going to talk about as we progress into this response of mine. To me, there are 3 basic things, as per my limited understanding, that is required in the today the most for all the. One is authenticity. A leader needs to be authentic. Okay, it was not something that it was not required earlier, because if you are not authentic, during the times of difficulty, whatever you are saying you are not able to do, whatever you are promising to the customer you are not able to deliver, whatever you are promising to your strategic partners you are not able to deliver, I think then you lose the credibility. People do not want to work with you, customers do not stick to your network, and so on and so forth. So the first thing that I feel, in terms of, you asked for two things, tools and skills. So right now I'm working on the skills. I'll come to the tools later, because tools to me is more of a technical side, whereas skills to me is more of a that comes from within, or that can be developed for that. The second is the resilience. Okay, we will see that the ups and downs are going to come, and during all the difficult times people look up to the leader. Is he having the resilience to fall and say that, yes, we have fallen, yes, this is the difficult time, but guys, let us come together and walk together. I'm there with you. We will make sure that together we come out of this problem. So that to me is the resilience. It's not something that, oh, heavens have fallen, we do not know what is it that we are going to do. We are working on a strategy which nobody knows other than the leader, or maybe he himself does not know. So I think more of a sharing is required about that. And I think the third most important point, which is very basic, is humility, which to me is the addition of respect for others and equality that we are talking about. Okay, wherein we are saying that I am not better than you, I am also a part of you. So I think these all are the three things which are core for this. Now let me come to the second part of your question, Aniruddha. I think when I come to the tools, you need to promote the agile way of working. Okay, what is the agile way of working? I think it's, again, we were doing it, but wherein again we pick up the people from the different walks of life, they come together, solve the problem, and move on. So we have to move away from the waterfall type of a model to something which is more tribe, squad driven, which like something like, if those of you who know, the Spotify follows that. Okay, so something wherein you can support that. Second is, I think we need to enable our teams with the tools that are required, so that when they are working on the various screens, say like team is there, morale is there. So these all are the tools that helps you, technical tools that helps you work together and enhances your effectiveness, and you become far more efficient if these tools are there with you. I think third thing, as I stated earlier, but whenever you repeat something at times, it sinks better, that you need to build the policies. You need to build the policies around these distributed, fragmented, locationally fragmented workforce, that how is it that you are able to bring down. So if you are saying that I am paying you for just giving you, there used to be in the historical parlance, city compensatory allowance. So if you are in Mumbai, you are paid more. But tomorrow, the person joined here but moved to some other location. What is it that he'll be paid? How is it that you're going to track? So you need to have more of a policies which you can flex as per the need of the time. So I think that's going to be my response to your question as far as what are the skills and what are the tools that are required.
Yeah, perfectly said. So leadership as just twice, that sum up everything what you wanted to say, in fact. And authenticity and resilience is something you have to have. One of the things which I was noticing when you were talking about is that the leaders-follower structure is not going to be any more relevant. You have to treat people equal. So it is the structure is leaders, rather leaders-followers. So that you have ability, you have treat your people, your colleagues as they are equal to you, not someone who is your followers or they're below you. The model is going to be working is now leaders, not leaders-follower model. That's one of the things I get from your discussion. And also you said that we have to enable people to work in this environment through the policies, process, and systems, and also by technological tools you have to provide them. One of the things came in my mind while you were talking about is that skill set about the leaders we talk about, and skills for everybody. So we are they're at a major inflection point at this point of time if you look at it. One of the study I read in by the McKinsey, which was talking about by 2030, 375 million workers, or roughly 14% of the workforce, global workforce, may need to switch occupational categories, learn new skills. As digitization and automation and advances in artificial intelligence are happening, it is disrupting the world of work. But it may be worrisome for some of people, some may be scared of it. But if history, if it has taught us anything at all, I see that always whenever there is technical intervention, it has created more work, more jobs. It was not that only it has been the sectors have changed, more job opportunities have created. So I was wondering that reskilling, repurpose is the new mantra for survival in this post-COVID economy now. Reskilling, upskilling is a strong strategic agenda for all the HR leaders. If you have to make a case for the value of upskilling in workforce decision, making as sensitively as possible, how would you frame it? What would be your response for upskilling of your work?
I think let me just take you back to from where we have started. I think this change is largely coming because if I remember earlier, those of you who are living close to 47 to 50 we can relate to. There was a time when you used to, we have to pay, I think, 5,000 rupees check and wait for 7 years to get a Bajaj Chetak scooter. Okay. And now, if you just send a SMS on a link, okay, you get the world's best cars down, you are downstairs, okay, and you can take a trial for that and decide whether you want to take it or not. So customers' expectations have changed. The technology has changed. Business models have changed. Okay. Now, if somebody feels that with all these changes, he or she will continue with the skill set that he was having erstwhile, okay, is a little, what I should say, completely the feeling is out of the place. So the reskilling and upskilling is very, very much required. But again, let me make this statement with a caution. It depends on which industry you are, which stage you are. Just do not join this digital journey because there are 10 other organizations who have joined. It may require only for a part of the business for you, not for the entire organization. Okay. So I think that's the first thing when you are making a business case, you need to decide as an organization that what is it that you want to do, because that's an important point to answer. I think I agree to your point. When we are going to buy this skill from the market, it is not only very cumbersome, but also in the most cases very, very costly. Now, on the other hand, the time to ramp up in terms of onboard, and some of the organizations are so ruthless, wherein if you onboard the new talent, okay, you would have seen in your own careers that somebody who was so successful in the previous organization, when he joins your organization, he's not successful. So I feel somewhere, yes, 50 to 60%, the accountability lies with the organization, not with the individual. If somebody was successful elsewhere, so I think the issue is making a person successful if you are hiring from outside, and it's not a very cost effective piece. Second thing is your technology stake. How is it? What type of technology is it? Is it a hybrid? It is completely new. So that's another challenge if you are trying to hire the people from outside. And therefore, it is very critical that we reskill. I again remember one point long back, around 25 years back, when we were trying to computerize most of these nationalized banks, and with no disrespect to anyone who's on this webinar, that most of them were very critical. They have gone on strike not once, I think many a times. Those the banks were closed. on the computerization of the bank. That is the phrase that used to be used at that point of time. Today, everyone's son and daughter is sitting in Bangalore or in Silicon Valley, being a geek on the computer. Okay, so I think it's a shift that we need to bring. Now, it is very, very much important, coming back to your point, that we must reskill. For that, you need to have, it is very, very much important to have a skilling program which is interwoven with your workforce planning. So you know that what are the skill sets that are going to sunset and what are the skill sets that I'm going to need in future. And therefore, with a skill matrix, you know what is the gap and what are the interventions that you need to do. Definitely, whatever was good yesterday is not good today, and whatever is good today will not remain good tomorrow. So it is very important that as HR professionals, we keep finding out that what is it that that we need, and that is possible when we are doing very good business partnering. We know what is going on in business. Third important point on this, which I had been practicing in most of the time. If it is a new technology, okay, do not hesitate in picking up the youngsters. Take a bet on a younger talent, because the learning agility of the younger talent is far superior than somebody like me. Okay, he comes with a zero baggage, and his ability to learn and do new things, which is the new technology. Say, like if you're talking about the blockchain, if you're talking about open AI and so on and so forth, then these type of people are the best to take the bet. So I fully agree, but it need to be linked to your overall business planning, overall people planning, and then you should know how the skill matrix is sitting. Where is it that you need to make the intervention? Have I answered, or you have any sub questions?
No, I think wonderfully you answered. I mean, everything is changing. You need new skills, customer expectations are changing, and also that new technologies are coming. And I'm sure that the new generation is more adapt because they are the natural citizen of this world of digital world. We are just immigrated. Rajuji said that we are immigrant, they are the natural citizen. So, I mean, what is that? Where the mooring has to come, where the organization has to anchor. And I think it's a purpose. And we have to build a purpose-driven organizations. And why is it the purpose-driven organization? It means that when a purpose-driven culture is a process of cognitive transformation of any organizations. How in this world of constant changes, which is so fast, at times confusing, overwhelming, organization come with a purpose, serve its constituencies, and still stay relevant and thrive. What's your view, Janda?
So can you be a little more specific on which particular aspect?
So I was saying that
is your
question. How an organization can come out with a purpose which is unique to its, and it can provide the competitive advantage, and it can stand for it in this confusing world.
So, okay, so if I have got the question correctly, and if I'm not responding in the same manner, please stop me there, so that you get as a navigator of this program, you get what you are what you're supposed to get. I think the purpose is a purpose or a vision, or if I can call it so, is a very inspirational statement that binds the organization together, which rallies the people, which synchronizes the effort. Now, it is more of a driving the what is it that your shared values are. Your vision is based on that, I think, or your purpose is based on that. Your purpose, it is very important that it need to be simple, so that people can understand. I remember that Alzheimer's organization, okay, has a very, very simple purpose, which is a world without Alzheimer's disease. Very simple. Now, when they hire, it is easy to communicate. When they innovate, it is easy to know. When they are putting the structure, it is easy to decide. When they are buying the medicines, it is easy to do. So if it is simply done, you can create a change basis that. I'm sorry. Now, to me, it is the most important element is that how is it that you communicate? This is very, very much important. It should be something which reflects the ethos, your philosophy of the organization for which you stand. It has to be the second thing, as I said, it is aspirational. It is not something that is going to happen or this year. Vision is always long term. To achieve the vision, you have the strategy, which you keep on changing. So if you want to go on the longer horizon, you break it strategy to achieve the vision or to achieve the purpose. I think that is another thing when if I need to look at for the success. The third point related to this is that how is it that the leadership is portraying? Okay, how is it that the leadership is living that vision? Is it something which is parked in the boardroom and we talk when we start nice, beautiful, either the customer interactions or the board interactions, or it is something that we try to live it day in and day out? Important point in any organization is your middle layer. Okay, generally I have seen that the problems that come is that from the top it starts, but there is a distortion, and the bottom where actually the lower half of the pyramid, where around 75-80% of the people sits, because of this not so much focus on the middle layer, many times the purpose gets distorted in terms of communication. So you need to make sure that you are making enough of effort to onboard this middle management onto your side, so that when they are communicating, I have seen many a times when you communicate a purpose, if the middle layer has not owned it, you will always find a very distorted version that reaches to the front line. Okay, and it is the front line in any organization that makes or breaks the organization. No disregard or disrespect to the leaders, but the one who connects with the customer, one who connects with the distributor, one who connects with the retailer, is your actual brand ambassador. He takes it to the people. If the purpose or the mission statement has not reached to them, or the person who is producing, I remember there was a airline company. They had a vision of on time every time. Okay. And they galvanized. This was a purpose, okay, for that organization. They galvanized even the person who used to enter into the craft to clean the craft. Okay. Now he knew that, and everything was starting from start -10, -15, -20, -30. So they knew that if the craft is in the air where I need to be. It was very clear. He knew what contribution he's making to achieve this airline organization, their purpose. So how is it that you break it into a smaller pieces? How is it that you connect it? And how is it that you are able to inspire the people to contribute to achieve that? Is what is very, very important as far as the purpose is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, very rightly you said, you answered really very well, that purpose is something which is to be understood by everybody, and it has to be the part of the DNA, and everything flows from the purpose.
Correct.
Right. So absolutely, and that is something which has to be, at the center of whatever we are doing. Now I think we are moving on to the next round, which is the rapid fire round, and we'll have a short answer of 15 seconds
okay.
of the questions. Meantime, I request my audience participants to kindly put up your questions on chat box. We'll take opportunity to ask those questions from Mr. Mishra. It would be great to keep you engaged on this conversation, and you keep asking those questions, and we will answer all of your questions. We'll get time for that. Yeah. So, very first question comes to me and my mind for you is that what experiences, people, or philosophies have most influenced the way you view and practice leadership, and why?
Okay. So I think there are a lot of senior leaders who have made significant contribution in where I am today. And I'm extremely thankful to them. I'm not a great learner, but they were the people who made me learn, maybe the hard way. Okay, they are people who held my hand tightly and taught me how to walk on this corporate world roads. So I'm extremely thankful to them, and whatever I am today is mainly because of them. What they have taught me is that character is always bigger than the competence. Okay, we have seen the best of the competent people failing. Okay, and one of the great example that we have seen is Sachin Tendulkar, how he was very successful, and his very great friend, and I will refrain from taking the name, who was maybe equally talented or more talented, and who started on this this journey on a better high than where Sachin Tendulkar started. But today he is not anywhere close, and people do not remember him. Why? Because probably he had the competence to play, but when the landscape changed, okay, he didn't have the character, he didn't have the grit to face that change of the landscape and stand again. So to me, I think that is very important, and that's what I was being taught.
Very good. Yeah. So another thing is that generally, if you see the people look at the very compartmentalized view people have about their function, their department, and ability to see the holistic view, systemic thinking. So how we can promote in the organizations, and you have been working on like having the systemic view of the entire organization, rather than looking the organization as a part. Yeah.
I think your question has an answer in itself. I think the systemic part or the model talks about having a holistic view. Okay, and look at the actions that you are taking. How is it that it is impacting? How is it impacting your balance sheet? How is it that it is impacting your customer experience? How is it that it is impacting your reputation? We have seen at times the organization has taken a shorter view and ruined the organization. It's not one. We have seen hundreds of the organizations which were very aspirational at one point of time to join. Okay, and today you call them whatever you call them, but they could not withstand. So I think that's very important.
So what has been your key learnings during this pandemic in terms of leadership?
I think many. First thing is that business models are not permanent. Okay, so that's what speaks all. And one sudden wave, and you will see that your model crash. So important to have a model, important to have a strategy which is flexible, which is nimble-footed, which can be flexed at a point and then which contracts, so that you remain relevant, you remain you are able to navigate your business, you are able to navigate your balance sheet, you are able to navigate the interests of your shareholders in these difficult environments.
Flexibility, of course. So, there's a lot of discussions around the transformation, change. How would you differentiate them, change versus transformation?
I think that's a good question, Aniruddha. See, to me, the change may be internal or external, but transformation, the word itself states that it is by choice. You make a choice to transform. it is very intrinsic. You decide to change. You decide to transform yourself. It is something like if you have suffered a cardiac arrest and then started going, then it's a change, because that change is brought by an incident. That change is brought by the doctor. That change is brought by a shock. But if you are on obese side and you transform yourself and reduce the weight and become fitter, okay, I think to me that is the transformation. So it has to be an intrinsic desire. So when you're talking as an organization that I want to transform, nobody is forcing you to transform. It's your choice to make a transformation.
Very simply, you differentiate it. Change is more due to the external forces, where it is more transformation, more internal and intrinsic. That's right. So we were talking about the leadership. That model of leadership, which was leaders follower, is no more relevant, and it is leaders structure. So if the whole traditional concept of management is reaching the end of the road, will there be any role at all for managers and for hierarchy in the future of organizations?
I think I can write a book on this. I see, if you ask me, in my opinion, the manager role, the role of a leader, is going to continue. It's not going to diminish. If you have techies, if you have geeks, they need supervision. Now, again, as I stated earlier, the quality of supervision will change. You cannot guide them by the sense of authority that you used to do 10 years back. They are more collaborative. Believe me, they are as intelligent as you are. You were only born earlier. That's incidental. Okay. So yeah. I think it is very, very much important that we this is going to change. I think as we grow forward, every leader moves leadership. Okay, and which means that you need to be an enabler, which means your role is to break the barriers that your team is facing, that your organization is facing. Instead of getting into that, I will manage your performance, I have a feedback to give you, and that is very threatening. Instead of, I think if we do it like this, my past experience or the knowledge of the last organization says this, maybe we can try. So I think if there is another function, if there is a regulatory piece that comes in the play, how is it that you are taking away those hurdles from these people? I think that is going to be the role. And when I'm talking to you, one exams to my mind, which was shared by the none other than Dr. Kalam, when he was in the ISRO. He said that Dr. Dhawan, the chairman of the ISRO, this incident is of around 1979. They launched a rocket and which collapsed. It could not take off. And Dr. Kalam was the project director of that. And you understand, that was the time when the days were a little different. They said we could have spent this on farmers and there could have been issues and so on and so forth. Dr. Dhawan moved out because there was a media that was waiting. He went and he said, my team worked hard. We have learned from the mistakes and we will come back and we will soon roll out the next rocket in this series. Again, Dr. Kalam was the project director for that. They did it some few years down the line. They launched it successfully. This time, Dr. Satish Dhawan asked Dr. Kalam to go and address and share this success. So I think that is the type of servant leadership that we need to look at as we go forward.
Yes. So what I'm listening that you can't compel, you cannot coach, but you have to coach, counsel, and collaborate. That's right. What is going to happen. Be a servant leader. Yeah. So what would be your key message, if I ask, for today's leaders help them to start reimagining, decoding the future of their organization, that how things are going to happen? What would be your key message?
Can you be a little specific about this, Aniruddha? I'm sorry.
So I was saying that what would be your key message to the future leaders today?
I think envision the scenario, okay, that your ability as a leader, it is very important to envision the scenario, because that's why you are at the top of the table. So that is the first thing. Authentically communicate with team, hold yourself and people responsible, and last but not the least, be a change agent and change leader. Do not try to assign the others. So that's very important in the changing times.
Yeah. So we've got some questions, which are very good questions from the audience side. So thank you, Adil. So there's a question that what you prefer as an individual, work from home or at office? What is going to impact individuals psychologically if just a minute. What is going to impact individual psychologically if we continue? What is going to impact individual psychologically if we continue work from home?
So I think I partially touched on this point. I believe that it has to be a mixed solution. It cannot be one way. As we go forward, my choice, I would like to come to office. I'm an extrovert. I love talking to the people. I love interacting. I love going to the market, understand where is it, what is it that I can do for my people. So that's my choice.
Yeah.
However, if people continue to work from home, especially in the places like Singapore, like Mumbai, like Paris, the houses are not designed to work from home. If you have husband, wife, and child, okay, in a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom house, it is very challenging to manage the work from home. You will not be effective. So over a period of time, if we go that way, maybe it's not a very sustainable model. But in the same model, if you are allowed to go to the office, okay, so there is a flexibility. I think that will take care of it.
Yeah. So there is another question that you speak about the purpose, mission, and importance of being able to communicate with the last mile. So the question is that in this digital world with work demand so high ever, what should be organization strategy on learning culture to create competitive workforce?
I have lost you, Aniruddha. If you can just hello, I'm losing you. If you can just repeat yourself, please.
There is just a minute.
Hello.
Just something. There's a learning culture to create competitive workforce. What should be organization strategy on learning culture to create competitive workforce? Are you getting me?
No, I'm sorry. If you can just paraphrase it.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. What should be learning strategy? What should be learning strategy for an organization to stay competitive? That's the question.
Okay, I think it all flows from okay, thank you very much. Whoever has asked, I think this is a very, very pertinent question today, especially in the days when you do not have ample of money at your disposal to invest into the learning intervention. I think you need to pick and choose the big problem size, and when you are doing that analysis, you will find out that there are certain pockets wherein you need to make these learning investment. Pick up a 80-20 formula so that your whatever amount, effort, time, energy, finances that you have are very well utilized. But it has to flow from what are the new adoptions that you are going to make, which will come from your business strategy. Basis the business strategy, you make your HR strategy. Basis the HR strategy, you make your learning strategy. So they all need to speak to each other, and so that there is a proper flow. And you will one of the major challenges that most of us face is the approval for those learning budgets. And whenever there are whirlwinds that had hit the business, that's one of the budgets that get chopped up. But the great organizations never do that. They believe that during the difficult times, when the market will research, okay, we need competent people. We need highly skilled people. So to answer the question, if I got it right, link it to your business strategy and people strategy, find out the gaps, invest in those gaps rightly through interventions. These days, it's more of a digital solutions than the classroom solutions. If it's a leadership related issue, give them the understudy with a great leader so that he learns and prospers. That's going to be my response. I'm not sure whether I've satisfied the person who has asked the question.
And then there's a very interesting question that there's too much of technical tools being available in today's time. And we have talked about the purpose, mission, and vision, and importance of communicating to the last person in the organizations. Why is the leaders face a challenge of not being able to convey this message across the rank and file of the organization?
I think I will divide it into the two parts: will, skill, and semantic errors. Okay, which I'll call it a syntax error. At times, you have a strategy, but you are not very confident about that because things are changing so much. So you do not want to communicate. You want to limit it only to the people. Second, maybe you are not that a great skilled communicator, but these days in the corporate world, you definitely have people in your team who are very skilled communicator and very good influencers. I think the solution to that is in most of the organizations these days, if there is any such strategy that you need to percolate down, you call the influencers. Every organization has an influencer. And believe me, influencers are not the role in the hierarchy. They may be anybody, but there are a lot of people who can influence the larger. So use that piece. Third thing, I will come back at the cost of repetition to my previous thing. Look at the middle layer. That's where the distortion happens. That is where the distortion maximum happens. They are the most critical people. But if in any change of strategy, whether it is reduction in headcount, whether it is change in the market strategy, merger, acquisition, anything that you're talking about, if you have not onboarded them onto your side, there is a fair chance that it will fizzle out.
There is another question that we talked about the leadership and the new leadership style completely emerging out. So the question is that what contours of changes in organization design and culture do you see that is needed in view of this smart leadership, you call it, or the push leadership or authentic leadership or the servant leadership, whatever you want to call it? What are the change in organization design and culture do you see?
So I look at it into the three-pronged or rather four-pronged. A, you revisit your structures. Okay, you cannot address this problem or this new technology by the erstwhile structure where you have one person, below that you have 5%, below them you have 10%, and so on and so forth. And they are very hierarchy driven, where if the business case is made, it travels to the 10 desks or 10 mailboxes. So that's not going to be the case. That is point number one. That's as far as the structure is concerned. Second thing is change in mindset of the people, which has to start from the top and go till the end. The third important thing is the tools that HR has. Are you enabling? Is your compensation and benefit policy speaking to the change that you want to bring, or you are going ahead with the separate piece? So if you are moving from the top line to bottom line, are you putting more premium in your compensation philosophy on the bottom line of earning of the organization? That's where the meat lies. So you need to keep on changing. So this is one side is the tool, other side is the attitude and the leadership, and the third side is the structure. So together to come alive to deliver what you intend to.
So one more question, rather there are two questions together I can ask. What are the skills required for an HR fresher in this era of organizations? Era of digitizations. Yeah.
I think understand the business, okay, where you are. Don't ring fence yourself into only HR. You will be effective only when you understand the business. 1, 2, know your own job. You will not be respected if you do not have a deep expertise in the role that you're doing. Okay, so that's to me the second thing. I think third is keep investing in yourself. Intuitively, HR professionals, if somebody comes to you, okay, you do this course, you pick up this training, you do. We are very prescriptive in our approach, but we hardly get a time to reflect. And this is an unconscious incompetence in most of the HR professionals. So, which includes me as well. So get a chance to reflect on that and invest into you. Those timely investment, and that's why I say this reverse mentoring is very good. The youngsters who come from these B schools with 5 years, 7 years are the best teachers for you. Sit with them, understand they have got a fantastic knowledge. Go and join a course where you will sit onto the desks and benches, which will break your ego and which will break you that, okay, there is going to be a test, I need to score. So I think that thing need to come on. That little sense of discomfort need to be an individual to remain on your toes. And that is very much required.
Ranjan, here we comes to end. It was a wonderful session. In fact, we overran by 15 minutes. So thank you, Ranjan, for sharing your wisdom with us, and have a great evening. I would like to convey my thanks and regard to all participants, and have a wonderful evening, all of you, and a great weekend ahead. Thank you for being with us always as you are. Thank you. Ranjan, you want to say something? Say bye-bye to all.
No, I think you have said everything. Thank you very much to all the participants, and lovely interacting with you. Some questions I'm not sure if I've not answered, or somebody has a question